Okay, welcome. We're here with Meagan Slavin. Meagan, what's your actual title?
I am the COO and co-owner of 25 North Coworking. Happy to
Yeah,
be
you are.
here.
We're happy to see you again.
Yes.
I get to hang out with Meagan last week, and I said to I said to Mara, I was like, Mara invited me to dinner with the 25 North team, which was lovely of her. But I said, Mara, I think I'm driving Meagan nuts. You can rescind my invite. Like, I don't even remember what I was doing. Well, Meagan thought I was judging her cookie consumption. I
My
don't know.
cookie consumption. I take my desserts very seriously, so had to really put you in your place
Oh
that
my God,
I
that
can have
lunch
two
was
if I
so
want.
good. We had lunch at Work From, right? No, Work From at the
Mm-hmm.
Hoxton in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. It was such a good lunch. And then there's a milk
Fantastic.
bar in the lobby, so we had to have dessert. So,
Obviously.
obviously. And along the way I was making Megan a little crazy. Gio,
I'll tell you,
are you
you don't want to mess with
you don't.
Megan's food routine.
No. And yes, wait, you were there when we were talking about how you bring her snacks now. Oh, that was at dinner with John Santora.
So I actually have a funny story about this. So when I go to all of our locations, so I live in Ohio, for those of you who do not know who's listening, and then we don't have any locations in Ohio. So I travel about 50% of my time. So I go to all of our locations and, around God knows what time, 10 a.m., 2 p.m. I'm usually always hungry. And I said, do we have like a a cupboard here that I can go grab stuff? And I'm like, this is so great. Every location ironically has all of my favorite snacks. And then one of our community managers is like, actually, we do that so you don't
Don't make
hate.
everybody crazy. There's an
So
internal
yours.
memo. How to keep Megan from getting hangry. Stock the following.
It's apparently an operational process for all of our teams
There's
to
an
make sure that I'm
SOP.
well, an SOP to make sure I'm well
Yeah.
fed. So I don't drive everyone nuts and I'm in my hangry episodes. So anyway,
I tried
pretty
to
much.
find Gio the keto chocolate that you get for Megan. I tried to find it. Costco doesn't have it. We don't have a Sam's.
I'll try to make it happen for you.
The
It's
next time
pretty
I see you,
amazing.
you'll have to put some in your suitcase.
So
I
funny.
definitely
So
will.
funny.
Gio, where are
Well,
you? You have like a vest on, like you're cold. What's going on?
I'm in Northern Virginia /
Oh,
DC. I got here Sunday night
from
toward
Chicago? No, wait.
no, I went home for
What week are we even in? Okay, got it.
I went
Yeah,
home for 36
24 hours.
hours.
Okay, great.
And now I head to the airport in 2 hours for headed down to Sarasota, flying into Tampa and then driving to Sarasota.
Okay.
So, but wanted to jump on and kind of do a post GWA kind of summary with Megan, and that we've got a couple other people lined up in different ways. But Megan showed up like with an entire Orange Baby team,
Oh,
and
that's the
so
Orange Baby reference. It was an entire Orange
So
Baby team.
so that's my little cute internal nickname. So we call ourselves Team Orange. It's our logo color, and Workplace Studio used to also have that color, so we kind of adopted the Team Orange name. So now our little internal team logo is an actual orange. So I posted something on Instagram saying, how many orange babies can you fit in a van? Because I didn't want to order 3 different Ubers. I'm like, just shove everyone in there. It's fine. Just hurry up and get in. So yeah, I think we were rolling 10 deep total, maybe. So we had 7, 8, we had 825 North, including Mara and I. And then no, more than that. And then we had a whole bunch of Workplace Studio people there we had a whole bunch of people.
Wait, and did you have only one male?
Yes, ironically. We do hire men. I just want to make that publicly clear.
I know. I was like, you guys are totally pretty, you mix it up pretty well. But wait, what's John's last name?
Henry.
John Henry. He was rolling.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We are female dominated for sure. I think we're about 70% female,
Okay.
but there's 30% holding strong.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring them to the next conference. All of our, leadership team are female typically. So except the finance guys, but they didn't want to come to the conference. No offense. So.
So what did they think? It was some of their first experience. What was the
Yeah,
feedback?
they loved it. It's really cool to see a conference that I've been to multiple times through, others' eyes, especially our younger teammates. So that was really cool. One of the best comments that I received from our senior community manager, she said, "I've never felt so seen in my career." So I loved that. Because, you imagine, you have conversations with uncles or whoever, and you're trying to explain what you do. And people who aren't in our industry, I think, are always going to be a little bit confused unless you're diving in. So I think she really enjoyed being able to use the lingo and talk and get really good peer to peer feedback. And yeah, they have pages of notes. We actually did a really cool debrief call this morning with the whole team who were there. And it was really cool to see all their takeaways. So it was great. Loved it. I felt like this conference actually had a really rich amount of tactical takeaways, which I feel like was really amped up based like in comparison to other conferences. So marketing team specifically loved your panel, Jamie. So a lot of really, really cool takeaways from that. And there was a KPI panel that they really liked. There was forgive me, I forget the name of it, Colleen's panel, something engagement or
Engagement?
retention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Team loved that. Loved hearing Mark speak and Brandon speak and all of that. Loved hearing some really cool data. So they got a lot out of it. They loved it. And it's nice to be able to work on the business rather than in the business. That's something that our VP of Ops, Katie, was sharing with me. She's like, it's just so great to come to these conferences because you can really dial in and focus in on the details and you're not having to answer phone calls and Slacks and emails, and you can really focus in. And obviously I get a lot more opportunity to do that, but our team does not. So that was pretty cool that we got to have really good intentional conversations. And we were all in one big Airbnb. So it was nice in the evenings too. And we got to kind of debrief and chat about what everyone's favorite part of our day was. So it was great.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought your team, and we see that here and there, but it is like less common than, what would be ideal. How do you think about the investment, both in like the actual cost to bring your team to the conference, travel costs, and time away, because you have to like backfill, the locations or whatever they're, even if they're not the front desk manager. Yeah. How do you think about that? And what would you, any sort of just context and maybe angle on how you think about it that might help other operators who are like, well, I'd love to bring my team, but.
Well, it's a retention play for us. So we get the ROI on it tenfold every time. It's something that if you invest in your people, they're going to stay and trust you. So they're able to take away big things that they learn that they can then implement directly into the company, into their team. And now we are involving them in certain strategy conversations. And it's fun to see certain people that have been to other conferences when they go to another conference, they are known now. So they get pulled into other discussions. They get invited to other things post-conference, webinars or little mastermind groups or things like that. They get to connect with other people on LinkedIn. And then that's a direct feed back to our company. Yes, it's a big financial push. Not going to lie, we went to Seattle a few years ago too. That cost us probably 10 grand in total. That was a huge expense. Even though this was in Chicago, this was a huge expense for us too. But we put it in every single location, financial, we accrue it throughout the entire year. It's something that we plan ahead for. We want to do this. We feel that it's a benefit for not only Mara and I, but for everyone as well. And we have really high retention rates for our entire company. So the people who were with me this past week, let's see, Sari is coming up on her 7th year with us. We have two. So Sari is 7 years. Noelle is 7 years. Mecca and Katie are 6 years. Senior community managers, senior hospitality coordinators are both 3 years, which the ceiling you reach pretty high for like really quickly.
I mean, for sure. You've blown out like the industry averages.
Right. So, but it's okay. How do you grow them? How do you further their education? What can they do for you? How can you streamline certain processes? So we have a senior community manager, senior hospitality coordinator. They are our centralized onboarding and offboarding team. So they onboard and offboard all members for all of our locations. They mentor other community managers and hospitality coordinators. They help with training. They pick up and they'll move temporarily to other locations when we're opening them. And yep, our corporate team does the same stuff. So love it.
And anything else besides your debrief call that you do to like really kind of cement or like incorporate what they've learned, or how do you kind of make sure that permeates through the organization and like they take action on some of the things?
So we have 3 different team calls that we do as a company. So
every week?
No. So
Okay.
once a month is a all hands call. That is a call that's either led by myself, Mara, or VP of Ops, Director of Sales, or Director of Marketing. Either of those people run this call, and the whole company is there, 25 North and Workplace Studio. And that is a what's going on in the industry. We'll do recap. So we will be talking about GWA on this next call. And then we have a different call that's once a month. We call that our team campfire. So again, everyone's on the same call. We say hello, and then we do breakout groups, and then we'll do individual, like small questions. It'll be a little bit more intimate one-on-one time with maybe people who you don't get to talk to. We will have topic discussions about what we've learned. So we'll divvy up all the people who got to go to the conference, and then they'll kind of answer questions and things like that. And then we also have a every single Friday weekly coffee clutch, which is an education-based call. Anyone can come to that. It's mainly geared towards our community teams or the 25N side. Sometimes the topics are all over the place that anyone can be interested in. But so we have a lot of different topics lined up from the conference that the team wants to present on, teach or educate or whatever the rest of the company on. So we'll further the discussions there. So that's every single week. So that's usually what we do. We also have a really great internal newsletter. It's called The Squeeze, leaning into the orange.
The baby oranges, yes.
The baby oranges. So that is something that Emily, our senior hospitality coordinator, she's the one who puts that out. And so we'll do features on certain people from the team. So there's like everyone's been kind of interviewing each other. So we'll do a lot of features there to make sure that everyone can benefit from everything that we learned this past week.
I love it. Very intentional way to.
Yes, for sure. But of course, everyone's now wondering what's the next conference that they all get to go to. So now I think I've set myself up that I'm going to have to figure out how to do a rotating roster on who gets to go to all these. So it'll be really fun.
Well, GWA's in Denver in 2026.
Correct. Love that.
Awesome.
Love that for sure.
Well, drinking straight from the fire hose, just finished this one. I'm already trying to get Atlanta off.
Immersive. Yeah. I love the immersive format.
Oh, I've never been to one of those. Maybe I'll put that on my list.
I feel like I was maybe a little skeptical about the smaller format, and now it might be my favorite. I would like to go to Atlanta. I got to see if I can fit it in. Because I also realized, like, even, at this conference, you have to be really intentional to, like, see everyone. You have to show up at all the things. You have to be really, really, really engaged. And I love it immersive. Like, I can work the whole room. Anyway, Gio, anything you want to tell us about immersive?
Yeah, so we're going to do it in Buckhead at Atlanta. And so far it's funny because we purposely waited to get feedback from this conference to figure out what the topics need to be. Downside is it's so drinking from the fire hose for sure. So it's December 3rd is the day of content, and the 4th we'll do the tours. And so we've already got the location. So we're doing it at Highwoods office building in their conference facility. And so it'll be more the traditional new landlord amenity space type of deal, as opposed to in a co-working space. But the good part is Serendipity Labs is walkable. You've got a Lifetime Fitness right down the street. And then Flip just opened a new location right around the corner, which is actually where we're going to do our happy hour. And
Nice.
so they agreed to that. And
Amazing.
there's some great brands in Atlanta.
There's so much co-working in Atlanta. So much. Yeah.
So Thrive is based there. The Regis real estate director is based there. Switch Yards, which everyone's eager to know more about. So trying to get them lined up.
There are a lot of independent operators in Atlanta. It's a very rich co-working market. So yeah, Rome is there. I mean, that's their headquarters too. Yeah.
So excited to kick that off. I think it's going to be awesome. It's just, again, now trying to line up the various speakers based off of the topics that I think went so well. And
well, what do you think went so well, Gio?
Well, I can tell
I would
you
love to learn.
The AI one was, I mean, there was literally people sitting on the ground in the AI.
That was the first day. You mean the session in which 2 people said they've made like agents out of me?
Yeah. It's pretty stunning. I didn't hear
Are
that.
you getting royalties off of that?
Exactly. I was like, did you send me a check? Mostly Ruben. Gina can feel free.
Seriously. Well, I'll tell you what. I thought that the moderators were great. So I thought that you guys lined up some really well-practiced moderators, because frankly, that can just make or break a whole session.
100%.
And that was great. I thought Colleen did an amazing job. So loved hers, and it was fun. I got to see some people speak that I really haven't seen much. So thought Rhonda was fantastic. I really liked her takeaways and thought she was really honest and transparent, and frankly would have loved to just see her speak a lot more too. So was excited to kind of connect with her after the fact. But it was great. What's that?
Noted. Maybe I'll try to get her to Atlanta.
Yeah, she was great.
So,
AI, what else?
The AI one was big. All right. A lot of people love the KPI one. The marketing one, obviously, because we had the best moderator in that one for sure. No offense.
I will say a little plug for you, Jamie. I do think that you moderate really well. I already shared this with you at the conference, but I especially appreciate how you jump in with your own thoughts. I love that. But I think it clarifies and further educates the audience. And then what I also like is you don't offer the same question to every single person. I think that's an unpracticed moderator will just go down the line. I think that gets so monotonous, and then everyone just kind of parroting what the other person said. So a lot of takeaways from that panel. I mean, my team has pages of notes from that. They were like, I have actual takeaways.
I was like, I don't know if, you always like, that's our goal. And I love that you felt that way about the conference in general, because I think that's how you really add value, right? Like there's some just like big picture insights, like big ideas, but then people really want some sort of ROI that they can take home. And I do think Gio and the team do a great job at picking moderators that are really focused on that for the most part. So yeah, I appreciate that. I always feel it's hard to not ask the same question and to manage the flow and feel like it all, goes well. So yeah.
No,
anyway.
It was good. I mean, everyone wants something that they can implement on Monday.
Yeah, right.
And I think, if you're on a panel or if you're giving a talk, I think you always want to give big, visionary, strategic guidance, which I think is great. But sometimes you just need to really narrow it down where someone can write it down. Okay, I'm going to tell my team this is what we're doing on Monday for next to no money. It then makes a big impact. So
totally.
Huge. Yeah, love that. Something about the AI panel that I thought was really interesting too, that again, as a really small takeaway, that someone gave feedback on, that said if a client is getting really frustrated with the AI agent that they're working with because they can't get to talk to a person, if you just implement simple humor into the AI responses, it almost like lightens the mood a little bit. So the client is less agitated once they get to you. Because I think that's something that everyone is really struggling with. Everyone is asking, are we telling them that it's AI? Are we pretending that it's human? What direction are we going here? And
Totally.
I think it's a bit of a weird line to walk. So,
Okay, this is a little bit of a side note, but I think that was Nancy. Gio, I was like, who is this woman who knows so much that I've never seen before? And then she came over and sat down like at lunch or something. And I was like, oh my God, Nancy's like, has had a total, makeover. And she looks so glamorous and fabulous, but she's so smart. She's been doing this forever.
yeah, she's great. Nancy from Quest.
Yes. Wait, I'm
So-
holding on her last
You
name.
want to know the truth? And I'm about to say this on.
We're uncensored. Go ahead, Gio.
I did not even know who she was
Yes,
because
me
I
neither.
did not recognize her.
Right.
I was like, who is this lady? She doesn't care about anything. She just says whatever she wants and everything else. And I'm like,
But she clearly knows a lot. I was like, who is this outspoken, fabulous looking woman who knows so
I
much?
thought she was with a census because she was sitting at their table
And
when I was over there. And I'm just like, who in the world? And now I felt bad because I didn't say hi to her. I didn't do any of that because I didn't realize who she was.
That
And I was
was-
running around like a
Yeah.
crazy person.
Yeah, she like changes her look and her hairstyle quite
She
a,
has
quite a
I won't-
bit.
I won't tell the story for her. We should have her on, Gio. She would be a great guest. She has a really like kind of moving story about how that look came to be. So
Yeah. Love.
we'll
I
see.
actually organized a little mastermind HubSpot call and she was on it
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, it's really cool. She's very into HubSpot and again, team was taking tons of notes and it was really cool. We had a whole bunch of different operators on the call and digging into all of our woes with HubSpot.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
how to
So
help
she
each
must
other.
be using the HubSpot bot. I was curious, like, what platform is she using? Because she had some funny. I know what to do when your bot goes batshit crazy.
Exactly. Love it. So what would you change, Gio? Anything?
I think the round tables, the way they were awesome, right? Just doing one set of round tables. It's interesting enough, some of the complaints we got were you're always going to get complaints about the food, right? You're not going to make everyone
Except
happy.
for Megan and I, who loved the food.
Loved it.
Salmon, salad,
Highly
mini
recommend.
desserts. Bring it on.
Yeah. So, we really tried to be intentional about that, but you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And then the other part was people complained about the layout, which I actually ended up loving the layout because the floor was so condensed that there wasn't anywhere for people to hide, right? Seems like if you open, like even Jackson, which in Phoenix last year, which was smaller, there were still people hiding in the rooms afterwards and tucked away. And so
Yeah.
you either were sitting on a floor by yourself or down in the lounge, right? The PON lounge, or you had to be up and engaged on that 9th floor, right? There wasn't a way to really get away. So even during lunch, it was like people were looking for a spot to sit. And so they were having to find somewhere to sit with someone new. And at first I was like, oh man, this sucks. And then I thought about it. I'm like, this is actually perfect because people are having to sit with someone new. And it allowed for it to feel full, right? It's almost like I tell people all the time when I go to New York and I'm looking for a restaurant, I don't ever make reservations at a time. I just start walking. And one, I look for the rating on the door to make sure it doesn't have rats and, cockroaches and stuff because they get rated. So I look for an A rating. And then the second part is I'm looking for a restaurant that's full that has, a waiting list, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes. I'd rather that than a restaurant that's, got a bunch of seating immediately. The locals know. And so just the fact that just looking around the room, it was full. So really love that. But that was something that people didn't love. Interesting. I'd love to get your take on it live. Both of you so it's our second event that has been in a non-hotel venue. And again, I think there's mixed reviews on that. People like staying in a hotel with everybody else, but there's also the downside of you get a stuffy hotel and you get hotel food, right? You got to get the F&B from the hotel and all that. And from a cost standpoint for us is now you've got the blocks rooms. So just kind of thoughts on that. Obviously, Jamie, you've got a ton of experience doing this and Megan, you've been to a bunch of them. What are your all's thoughts?
I mean, I know I had a walk with Leanne, by the way, after dinner. Did I tell you this, Gio?
No.
After dinner with John, which was a total treat, I went outside. It was such a nice night out. I mean, it could not have been a nicer weekend. And I was like, I'm going to walk. And Leanne was like, I'll walk too. And I was like, you're really far away. She's like, it's fine. So we start walking and we're talking. And after like 20 minutes, I was like, I feel like we should be at the river by now. And I look up and I'm like, oops, we went north instead of south on Michigan Avenue.
Oh my gosh.
She was like, all good. But she likes the hotel venue. She's like, here's what I think though happens in hotels. And I do the same. Oh, let me go upstairs and like catch up on emails for 5 minutes, 3 hours later. I
Yeah.
kind of like your note about like the layout sort of made it like, well, here you are, you're in it and you're going to engage. And that's what you're at conferences for, really. I understand the introverts in the crowd, like that can be exhausting. So there's also, what I said to Leanne, I was like, yeah, well, I remember organizing these conferences and not selling all the rooms and being stuck with the liability because inevitably people will book Airbnbs. And so it's just such a risk from a business model standpoint that I would hesitate to do it unless it was a really small room block. So I sort of understand the inside baseball on that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. We stayed a little far away, and then it got worse with traffic too, just because I wanted to have one large Airbnb for the whole team. So on no traffic, I think it was like a 12 to 15-minute drive, and then with traffic, it was like 35 minutes. So it was hard to, if you wanted to like freshen up or change or whatever, or put something down, that wasn't really an option. But I think if you don't have a large team, that you have to find a huge Airbnb, that's kind of irrelevant. So it didn't bother me.
I feel like people are going to be kind of 50-50 on that. So I feel like you just have to do whatever, do what you got to do, Gio.
Well, it's funny. I told the board, I said, you guys realize I'm an employee now, right? You guys get to tell me what to do, right? So I'm not so sure I think that kind of fell on deaf ears to a certain extent, but we'll see. I started kind of looking at the various hotel options. The problem is you want to be somewhere that's still cool and walkable, or, in a, like, the Gaylord popped up, and back to it. I mean, that place is massive, right? And it's like, you're not going to create any kind of.
Oh, you mean like in Nashville?
No, in Denver, there's a.
Oh, I didn't know there's a Gaylord in Denver.
It's way out by the airport.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Those places creep me out.
With the other thing I'm really passionate about, and I think humans in general like, and this is why event spaces and co-working, spaces do well, is they generally have light. It is really hard to sit in a dark venue all day long. Like, I will not get specific, but there were recent conferences. I just remember being like really sleepy because, because at least not every room had windows, but like the main like lunch, engagement venue had windows. So I just think the natural light is a really big deal. Convenes, tend to have natural light, and hotels do not. So I feel very claustrophobic in hotel venues. That's my
and I think it's funny you say that, because that's part of, between us, the struggle that I've got with Atlanta
between us and all the listeners.
And everyone listening.
I love that. That's my favorite line.
Between us and
the hundreds of people listening to this podcast.
That's the Atlanta situation, right? And part of it for us is having to figure out venues that I think are convenient, but also
relevant.
Yeah. Well, we also got to take the price into consideration,
right?
Too.
Totally. That's what I mean. There's an inside baseball about what's practical. Live events are very hard from, a P&L perspective. So I think, it's hard for people to understand, like, you're really trying to create a great experience and, an ROI for people, and they're really expensive. Like, I walked into the breakout room where we had our panel. I'm like, oh my God, they have a whole media guy here in this breakout room. How much does that cost? Because I was thinking like, oh, not having, anyway. Yeah, it's really expensive to put on a high quality live event with great AV support. And so, yeah.
That's where we're happy to welcome you back as a board member.
Nice try. We'll talk about that. Not just between us on
I'm
the
saying
podcast.
that. I'm just saying, and Megan, I'm saying that every chance I get. She's just like, no, not now. We can't talk about this.
Love it. Love it. I do have one more comment on the content. I thought Anna's keynote was great. Really
I was about to go there. Yeah.
really, really unusual. I'm not sure if I would be asking all those questions to my team. That was a little intense, but
I missed it. Give us an example. What would you not ask the orange team?
What is your relationship with your mother? How do you think you're going to die? So it was like a list. It was a list.
That's
of like
why
40...
Hector said he was like teary.
It was
what went down in there? I missed it.
It was pretty intense. It was pretty intense. So the whole keynote was focused around love and connection and community and relationship building and all of that. So there is this long list that she gave all of us. I think there was like 40 something questions on it. And so we had to pair off in small groups and go down this list with a whole bunch of people who either you knew or you didn't. And it was interesting. I just really love her. And anyway, I saw her at the last keynote that she did for us, and it was great. So I was excited just to see her anyway. But yeah,
Yeah,
a
she
lot
did a
of
great
interesting
job.
feedback. Sorry.
She did a great job at Juicy when she spoke. And so it's funny when we had the conversation about it, she's like, well, what do you want me to talk about? I said, what are you passionate about? What do you love? And so, that was a big part of it. And, part of those 36 questions were, I don't know, she mentioned it was from the New York Times from like 2015. And so it was so unique. I just pulled them up, but I mean, you know me, I love that whole bit of trying to connect with people and knowing what people are passionate about and what they love and all those things. I mean, to me that's how you really build relationships, is really understanding what people, and that's really what the podcast was done after, was getting to know people and the personalities behind it and why, the personalities within the industry do what they do. And, that's so important. So,
Yeah, it was great.
but yeah,
The hallway talk
some of the
was really
questions are
positive.
difficult.
Yeah, the hallway talk after was really, really positive after that. So it seemed like all the attendees really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So it's funny. I reached out to her to thank her and we went back and forth, and I was like, Perry, who is their head of real estate, lives in Atlanta. And so I was like, man, I'd love to get Perry on a panel with Michael Beretta, who is the head of real estate for IWG, who lives there too. And, who arguably taught me everything, the foundations that I know about this industry. And I was like, that'd be really cool. And she's like, well, what if Justin Stewart came in? And I was like, okay. So she was going to reach out to Justin. And so we may have Justin coming in for Atlanta, which is
Amazing.
the co-founder of Industrious. So we'll see. But yeah, no, I really love that whole conversation and everything around it.
Yeah, it was great. Great.
So what's the latest and greatest with Meagan and 25N, and are you orange babies? Bring us up to speed on all things 25N.
Let's see. We are expanding, as you very well know. So working through that, trying to expand in the Dallas market. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 locations going in the next 6 months. So we'll see how that goes. But no, things are going really well. We're doing a lot of different marketing pivots right now that we're seeing a lot of incredible results from, which is exciting. That always kind of brings our team a lot of excitement and joy when they get to reap the benefits of their hard work. So that's good stuff, but not a whole lot else. Just same old, same old. We're traveling a lot, and we are coming up to a year of our EOS workshop traction work. So that's been going really, really well. And we have 6 of us in total that are doing that for the company. And we've seen a lot of really great improvements on our streamlining, how we're doing our accountability chart, and how we operate our business. So if anyone is interested in doing EOS and they want a good recommendation or advice, give me a call. Happy to talk through that. We did that ourselves for a few years and kind of, half-assed it a bit, but now we actually have an implementer and it's been great. Highly recommend. I know that Grant does this too. Grant Barnhill.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love it.
Yeah, no, I've heard great things about it. And I mean, as long as you're willing to work it, I think that's the biggest part is, are you
It's a
willing?
lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of extra travel because we're kind of all over the country. So we do our in-person meetings once a quarter, which I'm traveling anyway, but we usually aren't all in the exact same area at the same time. So it's a little bit of a different schedule, but worth it.
Well, let's talk about we've had you on the webinar before for GWA talking about the meeting and events business, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's really been picking up for y'all.
Yeah. So we have a new project that we opened. Trying to think if it was December or January, whatever, one of those months. It's our biggest project. So it's 54,000 square foot. It's in 2 different floors. One of the floors is primarily meetings and events conference space. So that is wildly successful for us. It's right by the Chicago airport and loving that. It's a totally new business model for us because I would say I actually need to kind of look at the exact numbers, but it's anywhere from 65 to 70% of our bottom line actually comes from meeting and events. So we've always done meeting rooms, of course, and all of that, but this is on a totally different level. So staffing play is different, concierge, extra add-ons, all of that. Maintenance and facilities is different for this location. So we're loving it, and the team's doing a fantastic job, and definitely looking forward to continuing this model in our portfolio.
Yeah. So what are the biggest learnings you've had from that as far as sizes and needs, desires, all that kind of fun stuff?
So lucky for us, we crushed our numbers right out the gate. So I had a projection that I thought was, did a lot of research, a lot of feasibility study. And I was like, okay, so I had my staffing plan for the ramp up as we would ramp up our meeting room and event business. And we got a lot of large leads, large reservations pretty much within the first 2 months of us open. So we were understaffed. And what we should have done is we should have stocked up our event contractors way more than we did. So what we do is we have one of our corporate people are there. So her name is Noelle. She's our director of events. She is primarily based out of that location because of the products that we have there. Each floor has a community manager. And then we have a whole collection of part-timers as well. We have a full-time porter as well. His name is Jorge. He arranges all the furniture, all the tables, all the chairs, really helps us with that. So we have Ethan on the 11th floor, we have Tanya on the 3rd floor, and then we have a whole bunch of part-timers. And then besides our actual staff, we have what we call event contractors. So I think we have around 15 now that we can just call, text whenever we need them. And we see what their schedule allows. So we grab them for weekends, evenings, extra help as we need them. That is the hardest part about this business, as it's so inconsistent. So it's hard if you need to have 10 people on staff for maybe Tuesday and Thursday, but then Wednesday is completely dead. So then how do you staff that? So you need a whole bunch of flexible people that can go with the flow as best as possible. So that took us time to figure out how to ramp up and build the team around, but we've got it going now, which is great.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting part is really trying to understand sizes and AV equipment and all kinds of stuff, what people expect to see. The other part is, are y'all seeing a lot of need for like what's the best way to put it? Kind of think tank sessions or, innovation rooms or stuff like that are couches, bean bags, whiteboards, so people can go in and express themselves in a different way than sitting in a boardroom?
We're not seeing that. It's an interesting question. So people aren't asking to reserve that. We naturally in our design have like breakout areas, lounge, cafe areas. So people are meeting in the rooms, and then we have places for them to get out of the room to ID or whatever. We have a few rooms that have a couch or a little bit of like a lounge corner, but we don't have a room right now that's primarily only lounge. I've been
Yeah.
seeing this quite a bit. I know that it's been kind of talked about. Back in the day, it was something that we did have that people didn't want to pay for. I know that the whole model and the product offerings are changing now. So something that our design team wants to do, but full disclosure, I'm the one that's kind of pushing back on that a little bit because it seems to be something that we've never been able to sell very well before. So, but I know that that is not the common opinion. So,
It's funny you called it ideating and it clicked and it was like ideation room. That's what the word I was looking for. So,
yeah,
well, good. Well, I just wanted to take some time to catch up and hear how your
of
conference had
course.
been because your crew was running all over the place with big old smiles on their face. And then y'all were doing interviews upstairs and all kinds of stuff. So, what are y'all doing with that content, by the way?
So we are using it for our website. We're using it for YouTube channels. We're using it for client facing case study work. So that's something that Workplace Studio, there's a lot of Workplace Studio clients at the conference. So that was something that we wanted to make sure that we got some cool clips, and we're trying to do a better job on that side of our business when it comes to social media and everything else. So
Speaking of, you guys are crushing it on the social media posts, right? Y'all got some super unique, playful, fun stuff that at first you loved, but they kept catching you and making you appear in places. And now I just think you've full on just embraced it.
I always love when I get sent content from my own team or my own company. They're like, "Hey, look what I just saw." And I'm like, "I'm as surprised as you are. I didn't know that they were going to use that." And I think now it's like a shock and awe factor. They try to catch me off guard, but it's hilarious. It's doing really, really well. So our social media coordinator, who was also at GWA, does a fantastic job. She's super creative and does the pivots with all the different stuff that's going out there on the marketing world. So we're seeing huge benefits from her work. So and the team has a blast doing it. So it's
I love the basketball announcement with y'all stretching and falling. And
they
that was
they crack me up. I'm like, all right, whatever. What do we have to do? There's always like some kind of choreographed routine that we have to participate in every time I walk in the door.
it's hilarious. Oh, and let's talk about also stuff keeps coming up. Lexi, how'd you feel about that? First of all, y'all had a meetup on Monday that you kind of talked about at the Hoxton, but then also we had the regular lunch and we had guest speaker Jesse Glue from Watso in Australia.
Yeah,
Uh,
loved that. Love that. Yeah, a lot of our Lexi friends were at the conference, and we had a great meetup the day before the conference, and that was fantastic. It's always great. It's always great to get in a room with people who you've known for a really long time and that you trust. And of course, in the conference, we all are in the same industry, but it's nice when you start to get a little bit of a different relationship with people. So you feel like you can really open up your books and ask specific questions. And so it was really good to do a little side mastermind group with the whole crew that was there. So that was fantastic. And then yes, the private talk that we did with Jesse was really, really great. I know that we have a lot of people interested in figuring out what's next for them and a lot of really cool questions. And I'm sure Grant pulled her aside for sure after that because that's always his favorite topic is what are we doing about the EBITDA? So it was really
yeah.
great to hear her talk about that and share that. So thank you for setting that up.
Yeah, it's funny. She actually texted me earlier and she's like, "Hey, I think we're gonna get to 40 locations by the end of the year." I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
It's
she's great.
it's October. How did what did I miss between last week and this week that you flew out of Chicago and you're now back home?" So
Yeah, she was fascinating to talk to, and it's cool to hear a different perspective, especially in a different market about what someone else is doing. And yeah, love to hear about her experiences in her family company too. So love that, especially.
yeah, so you'll get a kick out of this. We kind of snuck off after we were in the back of the whole crew that left OFS and then kind of
Mm,
peeled off on that first Italian restaurant. We're like, we're just gonna sit here. So it was the GWA team and her, and it was so funny. At one point, she was talking about someone that was Australian that was at the conference, and she started basically imitating them And then she caught herself. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I was trying to use an Australian accent and I am Australian." We were
How
dying
does that even
laughing.
work?
Yeah. We were dying laughing. And then Miranda was like, "Well, maybe you just need a Texan accent." She goes, "What do I say?" And Miranda started speaking to her and she spoke right back to her in Texan. It was so funny. We were dying laughing, but it was amazing.
Oh God, she was cracking me up. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you joining us and kind of last minute and just kind of giving a
Of
summary of
course.
what your experience was. And as always, I love talking to you and catching up. And we've got a
Yeah.
bunch of fun work ahead. So hopefully we can get those Dallas locations finished up.
Love it. And for all of you listening, bring your team. It's worth it. They love it and they stay with you longer after you bring them to a conference. So, highly recommend.
Okay. Talk to you later. Love you.
Bye. Love you.